The educational philosophy of Maple Bear is that children learn best using the immersion method of education. We will use theme-based learning where they take units and work on a unit to learn a language. Sometimes parents are amazed when children learn language. For example, if they're doing a dinosaur unit and they learn Tyrannosaurus Rex and Stegosaurus, and parents are feeling, oh my gosh, they learned all these languages and words in English. But of course, it was because they were interested in that topic. So that's our philosophy, is taking things they're interested in and then talking about them, involving math, involving language, and getting it all incorporated into the Maple Bear education system. Maple Bear's learning system is that children will learn a second language, in our case, English, through the immersion method. So what we're looking for is children to be able to speak English, but in a very meaningful way. So they're using that language in everyday situations. So they're not memorizing words or learning a lot of grammar. They're actually using the language. So if a Maple Bear child comes into a classroom, the teacher will greet them in English. They'll respond, hopefully in English, but if they don't know English yet, they'll respond in their own native tongue, which is not a problem. The teacher then says something again in English. So at the very beginning, a child maybe isn't using the language yet, but they will, because they found that once they're in that language, they feel very comfortable using it because that's all that's used in the classroom. You might get a child who sees something out in the environment. So they come in with a flower, a nut, a worm. You never know what they will bring into you. And then when they bring it in, you start talking about it. You might get into, the life cycle of that flower. How did it start? It was a seed. Perhaps as a class, you're now going to plant seeds as a result of that. So the child is initiating the learning, and as a teacher, you take that suggestion from the child and go with it. The most important methodological principle of Maple Bear is the use of learning centers. And what we mean by that is activities where children go to a certain area that either they have chosen on their own or the teacher has directed them to, and they will work on either something to do with math, language, science, social studies, and they will use that center to do the activity that the teacher has requested. Sometimes it's a hands-on activity. It might be a block center, and maybe they've been talking about Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and so now they're going to use those blocks to recreate that story themselves. Sometimes it might be a science center, and perhaps they've got, the teacher has put out some ice cubes, and now they're going to have to melt the ice cube, and then they will have to time it. So there would be a timer there for them. They would have to record, so each child would have their ice cube in a glass. They would be recording it and record their times as to how long it would take that ice cube to melt. The teacher, as a follow-up then, can take that information and they as a class can put it into graph form. So very often the things that children do in those centers are then taken back and used as a group. Also, when they're finished working at the centers, they get together as a class group and discuss what went on. And it's very interesting because one group may have done, say, the ice melting one day, and another group does it on another day, and then they compare the results, and the children are always interested. It's almost a competition. How long did it take? So using those activity centers is really crucial. And I know sometimes parents wonder when they walk into a Maple Bear room and you've got children in 4 or 5 different places working, and sometimes the fear is, oh my gosh, they're having too much fun, they're playing. But the fact is, yes, it is a type of play, but it's a learning play. And that's really important for children to learn in a way that they enjoy. And they enjoy by playing, and then we just push their play so that they're learning while they're playing.